Hello, everyone. We will get started in about 2 to 3 minutes. We want to give people a chance to join in, and thank you all for coming. Hello, everyone. It is now 2 o'clock. We're going to give everyone about 2 minutes to get in. Before we begin, I want to go ahead and quickly let everyone know that this is a webinar that will be recorded. And once again, we're giving everyone a couple of minutes to join in. Bo, I believe we're good to begin at 2:02, okay?
Okay, sounds good. I will wait just a minute longer and then I'll kick it off. Good afternoon. My name is Bo Johnson. I am one of the chairs of the UTA's Training and Education Committee. Today we will be hearing from Charles Bowles with Commercial Truck Trader about digital tools that will help you grow your sales. We thank you for your time and support of the UTA. I will now turn it over to Asia Jackson.
Hello, everyone. As Bo just said, my name is Asia Jackson. I am the marketing assistant for Commercial Truck Trader, a division of Trader Interactive, and I'll be your webinar moderator today. Let's walk through some quick housekeeping rules before we begin. You can go to the next slide, Charles. If you need, one more back. All right, if you need to make any adjustments to your sound during this presentation, you'll see your audio controls in the webinar control panel. You have the option to toggle between using computer audio or phone call audio if you need to change. As well, you can adjust your microphone settings and your microphone volume. If you think of any questions throughout this presentation, enter them into the questions section of the control panel, and then when we get to the Q&A portion at the end, or if the question is applicable to the slide that we are on, we'll be sure to answer your questions then. With that, we can go ahead and get started. On to the next slide, Charles.
There's just a little bit of latency.
All right. And before we begin, I'd like to introduce everyone to Charles Bowles, Director of Strategic Initiatives at Commercial Truck Trader. Charles has over 25 years of experience in the commercial trucking industry, and we're thrilled to have him host today's webinar. With that, I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to you, Charles.
Well, thank you very much, Asia. And it will take a second for these slides to switch. There is just kind of a latency issue when you have a bunch of people on a webinar. First, welcome everybody, and I'm so glad you're here. Before you start, this isn't really an advertisement for Commercial Truck Trader. Obviously, I'd love to have you be one of our dealers. However, that's not why I'm here today. I'll speak to our products, but not as a sales pitch. Rather, I want to show you what's available technology-wise. It's amazing now what we all need to do in order to navigate this new virtual world that we've been thrust into. With that in mind, I'll start a quick overview of Commercial Truck Trader to give you an idea of who we are. Then we'll talk a second about some of the new digital products that are available. And they're available through us, and we'd love for you to use us, but they're also available other places as well. So just keep it in mind that this is really about understanding a little more and a little deeper and a little richer about technology. First, our mission is to bring commercial vehicle buyers and sellers together by providing our dealers and OEMs comprehensive listing packages and innovative advertising products that place inventory in front of relevant, high quality buyers that are in market and down funnel. Commercial Truck Trader is part of Trader Interactive, which is a large network of marketplaces, including Cycle Trader, RV Trader, ATV Trader, Equipment Trader. We're a large organization with a number of different marketplaces. Our real job is to provide tools to dealers so that they have the solutions they need to attract, engage, influence, and convert prospects into customers. What is a digital marketplace? It's evolved over the last few years. It used to be a place where there was just a series of pictures and some text, and that would be what we call the marketplace. But since that time, things have changed significantly. These are now e-commerce marketplaces. They feature individual traders, large-scale manufacturers, or anything in between. I mean, you're very familiar with ones such as Auto Trader, Commercial Truck Trader, Truck Paper, Carvana. These are all very large digital marketplaces. So with over 1 million unique buyers coming to Commercial Truck Trader each month, we're able to do a lot of things. And one thing is we can build some really neat tools that can really help prospective buyers determine exactly what they need in terms of equipment. But what we also are able to do is capture enormous data and user behavior that we can then use to help our dealers and our OEMs understand better what the behavior of buyers are. And that really helps us create solutions and strategies that can grow your brand. So customers can use our website, and these are the end user customers, to browse over an average of 175,000 new and used commercial truck listings all over the nation. And it still is amazing to me that even with this dearth and scarcity of inventory out there, there's still hundreds of thousands of trucks for sale. And here's what's really interesting about this, and this is why it can actually be a really interesting and profitable time to be selling trucks. You're getting enormous premiums on what you sell. And that's where a marketplace like ours and others can help by reaching a much broader audience. That reach enables you to get an even higher price for your vehicles. That's why even if there's a scarcity of inventory, if you don't have nearly as much as you normally have, you can still drive incredibly high margins by reaching a broader audience. So if let's think about this for a second. If every month over 1 million new viewers come to our site, new prospects, and just think about that. In last year, there were about 35 million monthly page views, and millions of searches were conducted. This was during the pandemic period, and now what we've seen is a dramatic shift in how people are searching for vehicles. We are generating, and I'm sure other marketplaces are too, significantly more leads than we ever have. This is not to say that dealers overall are getting more leads. What it's saying is those leads have shifted from in-person, coming to the store or other methods to virtual digital leads. So we've seen a dramatic shift in how people are shopping, how people are researching for trucks, and ultimately how they're buying for trucks. And that's where some of what we talk about in just a little while is going to be really, really interesting. And we're going to talk about some product ideas, some technology that can give you a leg up in terms of moving people farther down that sales funnel, particularly those in-market buyers, because you will know a lot more about them and be able to help them much better. I think ultimately, whenever we talk about a marketplace or any other form of promotion or marketing or advertising, we talk about ROI, and we talk about that return on investment, what somebody is getting, whether you're using us, whether you're using another marketplace, whether you're your own website, whether you're using print, whether you're using billboards, whether you're using radio, TV. Ultimately, it comes down to this. Is it driving the result that I'm looking for? Am I getting what my expectations were? And that's where you have to determine what is it that you're trying to do. Even when you're branding, and I use air quotes on that because branding really is just a form of driving awareness that ultimately turns into a lead. When you are doing anything, what you count at the end is, did it help me sell more vehicles? And last year we generated over 2 million connections, leads for our dealers. This is where, and this is going to be a really short webinar, so we'll have some time right after this to answer any types of questions that you have. But I want to really get into a little technology here, and please stop me anywhere along the way. Even though I think you're muted, just type in the chat box any question that you have, and Asia has no problem interrupting me at any point, and we can talk in a little more detail about some of these neat technological changes. I do want to talk about these technology channels that are now available. There are a number of companies out there offering some of these solutions, but they really work best when they're integrated into a platform. And we have a platform that enables dealers to not only just post listings and do advertising, but really do significant analysis and understand not only what's happening with their units, but what's happening within their market as well, because that's reported within this back-end tool that we're going to talk about. And the back-end tool is called Trader Tracks, 2 X's. I know it's kind of, it is what it is. That we don't name them, Asian marketing name them. But it's an innovative platform designed with dealers in mind that serve as a central hub for all of our dealers' marketing efforts. The platform is efficient to our dealers because it aids in, we talked about earlier, managing inventory. It manages leads. It also generates significant reporting. It also pushes website content. It has dealer profiles, and it has user settings, so you can determine who gets to see what within your dealership, certain things. It's designed really to elevate and expand a dealer's marketing strategy, on our website and beyond, plus give you a better understanding of how consumers connect with the dealership in their pre-purchase research. This is included in every subscription to Commercial Truck Trader. Everyone gets it. Some of the things that are really interesting that I want to talk about in terms of the reporting is that it also enables you to see scarcity. Scarcity is an interesting term because it allows you to buy more efficiently and have a faster turn and a shorter day's supply of vehicles. Here's how it works. So what you can do in the back end in Trader Tracks is see there were a lot of searches for this specific type of vehicle, yet there were not a lot of these vehicles in the market. Therefore, there's a scarcity of vehicles there. So there is a greater demand than there is supply. So with that in mind, if I can get a hold of a certain type of vehicle, I am pretty likely going to be able to sell it at a faster turn rate because of that demand for that vehicle. That's one additional aspect of Trader Tracks that's really interesting. There's also in the background something called WIN, which is the Wholesale Industrial Network, and it is a private, password-protected, dealer-to-dealer website bulletin board where dealers can post things that they want to wholesale and others can buy them. Now, in this particular market, in this climate right now, there's not a lot of those. There's a lot of people looking for stuff, but there's not a huge amount of inventory. But as things lessen up and we start to see a bunch of stuff come back in, that wholesale network, which is available in this back end as well, and it's free as part of that service as well, gives you an additional opportunity to offload units that may not garner the same type of demand in your market where they may somewhere else and somebody may really want that particular unit. This is probably one of the neatest features that we've seen come out of technology in the past 18 months, and it's called lead enrichment. It is such a slick tool, and it's born from this digital age. Lead enrichment offers dealers insights into potential buyers' shopping patterns on Commercial Truck Trader. When a buyer initiates a lead from Commercial Truck Trader, that lead is appended with real-time information about how long that person has been in market based on how long they've been searching on Commercial Truck Trader, the price ranges of the vehicles they searched for, the specific make, model, year, the specific listings that they viewed, and their most recent activity. So you know when somebody fills out a lead and sends it to you, you know well in advance all this information. Now, it can be creepy, and we wouldn't use it in such a way. We wouldn't say, hey, I noticed you looked at these 4 trucks before you decided to call us about this one or email us about this one. But rather, what you would do is you would use that information to understand better what price range that person's looking for, what type of unit they're looking for, maybe the vocation, job, or application that they really need this vehicle for. So this can really change the way your team engages with potential buyers, and you become much more consultative because you have a better idea of whether they're looking at new and used, what their price range, and the specific types of vehicles that they're looking at. So lead enrichment is a really slick part of what we offer. And once again, when you work with Commercial Truck Trader, you get this particular component. Geofencing is relatively new to our world. It's been around for a while, but it hasn't been around in marketplace sites. And geofencing is a way of conquesting, and that's a key component of growing sales when the SAR, which is the seasonally adjusted annual rate, remains high but flat. The only way to grow your sales is to take share from someone else, particularly when we're not building any more vehicles than we did, let's say, a year ago. So in terms of this geofencing, these ads target consumers within a 20, a 40, a 60-mile radius of your dealership, along with optional additional addresses of choice wherever you want to go. So a consumer, a buyer, comes to Commercial Truck Trader. And then when they leave and they start looking throughout the internet, and they're within 20, 40, or 60 miles of whatever that radius is, hopefully your dealership, they'll see ads for your dealership targeted within that radius. So dealers are using geofencing, and what they're seeing now is they're getting about 1,000 clicks, additional clicks back to their website, because this particular form of advertising, like retargeting, follows them around, and it does it within a very specific radius. We've seen people use this, or dealers use this, to conquest other dealership brands. Instead of a 20-mile radius around your shop, you put it around a 20-mile radius around one of your competitor shops. So every time somebody is nearby there, they'll see your ad. It's a very interesting concept, and it drives significant engagement. Social retargeting is a type of retargeting that and I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't think social advertising would be a way to drive commercial sales. And I've told you all this before, and individually in these webinars, that it really took me by surprise over the past couple of years what's happening with social and the engagement people are making with vehicle listings on their social pages. It's really substantial. So these dynamic ads, so somebody goes on Commercial Truck Trader, then they go to Facebook or Instagram. These dynamic ads serve the exact unit that they were looking at. Sometimes it's a similar one if that unit all of a sudden it has been sold very quickly. So that person, if they looked at a vacuum truck, that vacuum truck follows them around social media. And when they click to it, it goes back to your listing for which they originally were there. The engagement rate is enormous for social retargeting. And I'm embarrassed to say, I didn't think it would be that way, but it has really grown substantially. So those are some of the marketing tools that we wanted to talk about today, some of the new digital tools that are available through us, but also through other vendors and partners as well. I think we do a good job of consolidating everything into a real simple platform that makes it easy to use and easy to report on. But most importantly, whether you use it with Commercial Truck Trader or somebody else, these are the new tools in this virtual world that we really need to use in order to capture the buyers who have changed their type of buying pattern and behavior significantly. So if I'd like to entertain a couple questions now, if you have a couple, and if not, you can always send them to Asia through marketing, and I can get them that way. Are there any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
All right, Terry, I see one question coming through. Is there one or two digital practices I should be doing in this low inventory market?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Was this question for Terry or was it for Charles? Is Charles?
For Charles, but it came through from Terry.
Okay, yeah. So here's the interesting thing that we've discovered. Generally, when inventory is low, you obviously have less to sell. And one of the things some dealers do is they say, well, I just don't have that much inventory. I'm just going to sell it, as I can. I really don't need to market it. And in some cases, that is absolutely true. But in other cases, and we've got a lot of examples of dealers who take advantage of this and are able to leverage this in such a way that they say, I've only got 6 units, but I can generate probably about 15 grand extra on some of these units by reaching a much wider audience because the demand is there. So in that particular case, it really does make sense to reach out and get a broader audience. And what's interesting, and I know we normally we're talking about heavy duty here and sometimes medium duty, but even in light duty right now, there's such a dearth or scarcity of things like cargo vans and delivery vans, and middle mile and last mile is so important now that normally searchers who would search, and we know this empirically from looking at our site, searchers who would just search within a given marketplace are now searching in 150, 200 mile radius to find things as simple as a Ford Transit or a Ram ProMaster or an E-Series van. It's or like a Mercedes Sprinter. Things have changed dramatically, and these buyers are willing to travel and they're willing to pay a premium because they need these things because they're tools for their business. Is there anything else that anybody has? I'm going to see everybody really soon. I'm going to see some of you all in Nashville for Navistar. Then I'm going to see everybody at the UTA convention in November, which is one of the most important events that's put on within our industry. The Used Truck Association has become such a powerful part of everything that we do, and it's people like Bo. It's people like, remember it, God bless him, Eddie Walker. It's people like Craig Kendall. It's all of these people who make an enormous difference, who give their time and volunteer to advance this, not only this organization, but this industry. And it is so appreciated. And we love being a part of this, and it's fun. And we look forward to the interactions with you guys. So if there are no more questions, I'm going to turn it back over to Ace.
Charles, really quick, I didn't want to interrupt you. We have another question in the chat.
After my really, really good goodbye. Terrific. Go ahead.
I know, right? So this question states, our company is new to commercial truck trader, but so far we have had 22K looks, but not one single caller inquiry. What are we doing wrong?
That's really interesting. I want that question. I want that person, if they can, to tell me where the 22K looks are. Are they in search impressions, or are they on the vehicle detail page? And while we're doing that, I'll talk a little bit about that. So we know from, once again, empirically from experience by watching millions of prospects searching on Commercial Truck Trader, that they look for certain things. And these things must be there in order for the vehicle to actually get engagement from a buyer. And we've talked about this before, and I'm gonna just mention it very quickly. There's an acronym called PAID, P-A-I-D, and we're gonna go through it so quickly, but please, these are the 4 components of blocking and tackling that will make people engage with your listings. First, price, P for price. Vehicles without price, unless it's an incredibly specific thing like a vacuum truck or something for fracking that's very specific to that. If the unit doesn't have a price, we know by watching user behavior, they will move on rather than engaging. As a matter of fact, we know that people will actually engage with listings with higher than average market prices on vehicles than they will with vehicles without a price. So always include a price. And understanding that customers may just look at that as a starting point, but they want that price. It's like going to Amazon. If there's a bunch of shoes and there's no prices, you're not looking at those. The next letter is A. A stands for appearance. And what we're talking about is not how good a listing appears or how nice the photos are, where it appears in Google search results, where your listings appear. And that's really contingent upon making sure that within the first 300 characters, not words, of a description, the 300 characters that you talk about the job, the vocation, or the application associated with a vehicle, because that's how people shop for vehicles. They shop dump truck for sale near me, conventional sleeper for sale, Austin, Texas, landscape truck for sale, Richmond, Virginia. That's how people search for vehicles. And that's how Google indexes. So within the first 300 characters, that information has to be there. So price, appearance, next is I. I is images. Images sell trucks. We know that by watching. And we know this, that if you show a truck that's actually engaged in an activity, if you have a dump and the dump body's raised, that gets a lot more play and a lot more engagement from prospective buyers than one with the dump down. Same thing on your lot. When somebody drives by and they see the dump bed raised, they're more likely to be engaged than they are if the dump's down. So price, appearance, images, and lots of images, and description. And when we talk about description, what we talk about are those things that are vocationally based, those things that are really important to the buyer. The next thing we talk about is finance, whether it's a track lease, whether it's a regular, straight, normal purchase, whether any of these types of financing, if it's through a captive or it's through your local bank. These things are really important to buyers. And finally, maintenance and service, because it is a tool. They want to be assured that they can be up and running and they get priority. So price, appearance, images, and descriptions are really the 4 pillars of making a good listing. So if somebody's doing all those things and still not getting the results that they're looking for, let's talk. Let's talk about some of the things that we can do and look at those individual listings and see what we can do to make them more competitive.
2 more questions in the chat.
Right.
For the next question, does Commercial Truck Trader tell me what is selling and where it is selling?
Yes. In the back end, in Trader Tracks, you can look by demand on what is generating impressions, what's generating VDPs or vehicle detail page views. We're not going to actually tell you sales data, but we're going to tell you what the demand based on searches are for specific pieces of equipment. Sales match data or registration data is not provided in the back of Trader Tracks. However, directionally it's very close because we're able to actually gauge what that demand is based on the volume of searches, the volume of views on vehicle detail pages for specific vehicles.
Next question. I need inventory. You mentioned a wholesale network. How can I participate?
All you have to do is be a member of Commercial Truck Trader. If you're on Commercial Truck Trader and you go into Trader Tracks, up in the right-hand corner, there's a little hamburger menu. That's what we call it, those 3 little lines. You click on that and you can get into the wholesale industrial network. And what you're going to see back there is a lot of vehicles that are also being retailed right now, but the dealer also has said, I'm willing to wholesale these. And what's interesting is the dealers can have a completely different description in the wholesale network. So, and this is only dealer facing, so it's not consumer facing. So somebody can say, hey, I've got this thing for sale, but it's got this, and this. I'll sell it for this, or whatever it is. But it can be a completely different description as well as the retail description for the vehicle. So it's already included in whatever you're doing with Commercial Truck Trader. If you have a listing package, which they all basically are, then you have access to that, and you can get with your sales rep, or you can contact me or anyone, and we can get you in there.
One last question, and everyone please feel free to add any more into the chat. Charles, during the pandemic, Trader Tracks has been a major help. Can you discuss a bit more about how Trader Tracks has evolved over the pandemic and where you see the future of some of these solutions going afterwards?
Man, this sounds like a plant. If this is a plant, thank you. But if not, it has been, this has been a 23-year evolution for us digitally. And what we have really iterated based on the input that we get from the dealers, the manufacturers, and people coming to the site. And what we've learned is that what worked yesterday may not work tomorrow, and it may need to be tweaked, and it may need to be changed. and how we've conducted business as an industry is changing significantly. And one of the biggest changes is that people are willing to complete an entire enormous purchase online. And that just blows me away. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually bought a Jeep through Carvana a little over a year and a half ago because I wanted to see the process from soup to nuts so that we would know better how it actually works. And there were some challenges to it. With Carvana, one of the challenges I had is because it's a used vehicle and I didn't feel like using their financing. I had to run all over town, and then I had to submit all these papers to Carvana. It went through. There was a lot of friction in the process that we learned along the way, and we're in the process now of actually developing digital retailing from soup to nuts that will work in concert with captives. It will work in concert with local dealers. It will work with the OEMs. We're going to emulate and improve the process by which people buy because we know they're doing it. And we know if we can help you do it earlier in the process, you're less likely to lose a sale to somebody else. And so this is one of the things that it's really important about us moving forward. This next step is doing the complete program from the time somebody is researching, even before they're in market, to the time they're in market, through all stages of the buying process to the very end of the funnel where they can actually then purchase the vehicle. And we're very close to that.
All right. I believe that's all of the questions that I've seen come through the chat. I want to thank you, Charles, and I thank you, everyone, for being a part of this webinar. Feel free to reach out to us at marketing@traderinteractive.com, and please keep an eye out for future webinars. We're happy to hear feedback on this webinar, and we're happy to answer any additional questions that you have. Thanks again to the UTA for having us, and to all of you for tuning in today. Stay safe and take care.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.